Whether you're new to pool and practicing the basics, or a more experienced player performing drills to improve your shot making and positional play, the Drill Partner is perfect for you.
PremierBilliards.com. Exceptional cues, cases, and accessories from top-tier brands. Want it? Need it? Find it. PremierBilliards.com.
Michael Panozzo, sir, how are you today?
Oh, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I've been sweating pool all morning, last 2 days. It's been getting a lot of work done, being productive.
That's good.
I finally feel like, Mike, after this whole year, first of all, has been great, but it's been long and it's gone by super fast because I've been traveling a whole lot, and so
It's May, you only got 7 months to go, bro.
I know, but that's the crazy part is that it's May. I feel like I was just getting ready for the Derby at the beginning of the year, and then it's already May. We're already like 5 months in. So, but finally, for the first time in the whole year, actually, I finally feel like I'm rested and I'm feeling good, and I'm back in some kind of rhythm. Doing shows now, which is cool because we haven't done them a whole lot being on the road. So it's been a lot of fun. UK Open's going on, big events just finishing up. Lots of news going on around the pool world. I can tell that either you're looking at your calendar or you're sweating.
I got the zone on. I got the zone up on the wall here, and my girl Sarah was on the hill, but she just missed an easy shot.
Who's she playing?
Quo.
Oh, Taiwanese.
Yeah,
strong player.
Good player, but he's made a lot of mistakes in this match too. But
well, I've noticed
she's a strong player. I like she had a tough loss yesterday. But she's a good player, and I like watching her play.
The matches that I've seen, Mike, they've been players have been struggling on these tables quite a bit. And
I saw Niels actually comment that he thought under 4 is maybe a little bit too. It's kind of pushing the envelope where now you're getting into like snooker pockets, and it changes the game when you get too small, right?
Yeah.
So we don't want to take the game away, the game that we like to watch these players play. We like to make it difficult on them, but we don't want to take it away from them. So, they have to find that line. But I think 4 is just fine. I don't think you have to go into.
Well, I remember the first time they had 4 at the World Pool Masters a couple of years ago, and it was like some shots that you thought were automatic weren't, and it added a whole new level of drama. Right. I don't mind this slight shift. I don't want to go anymore. I can tell you that. But I saw the Niels comment, and coming from a guy like him, it's telling. Obviously, Niels is a Hall of Famer, world champion, etc.
Yeah.
But I would just be curious to hear opposite end of the spectrum, maybe like a younger European. No disrespect to Niels, because obviously he's still competing at a high level.
Yeah, well, you're going to have players. You're going to have some players who are going to say, "Listen, make it as small as they can," but they have to understand that it changes the whole dynamic of the game, and you don't want to do that. I mean, I think 4 inches is a good test. You don't want to change the game, and you don't want to try to draw fans in by watching guys play 3 cushion for an hour and a half either. So,
I just realized, Mike, I didn't even change the damn title of the video. I'm not
What's
doing well.
What's the video title? Oscar Dominguez?
Oscar Dominguez, yeah. I'm about to give you the boot and see if Oscar's free for round number 2. Okay, well, obviously, if you guys are tuning in, whether on YouTube after the fact or live, this is not Oscar Dominguez. But before we jump into the UK Open head first, there's also WPA news. Matchroom's putting out a bunch of statements, but for me, Mike, the biggest news of the day, was I got an email earlier today, and Hall of Fame nominees are to be voted on, and finally, my man up top here is up for meritorious service for the Hall of Fame. So congratulations, Mike. I know you're not inducted yet, but this is something that I'm personally, as a friend of yours, I'm beyond thrilled to see, and absolutely.
Yeah, it's weird.
I know what you're gonna say. Come on, let's hear it.
It's weird. I'm not sure I'm 100% comfortable with it, but no, it's an honor, obviously, to just be talked about and considered. And so, it was, I had some mixed feelings about it because, it was very nice of them to put Mark Griffin and myself on the ballot, because I kind of indicated, listen, I certainly don't want to be considered before Mark because, I think we owe it to him. I was going to be a big stumper for Mark this year. So
it's the qualification. Like only one can get in. Is that
no. Once the committee recommends someone, then it's just a matter of a yes/no vote. And so it's we'll see what happens. See how many people vote no.
I can tell you who will be voting yes, and that will be me. And
it's kind of a weird thing. It's something that you never think about. Anybody who gets nominated for meritorious service never goes into what they did thinking maybe I'll make the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
It's not like a player where you start to look at your titles and your trophies, and you see what the bar is, and you're kind of in that area. Meritorious service is just it's what other people think of what you've done. So that's what I think always makes it it always makes it a little bit awkward for people who get nominated for meritorious service, I think, because again, it's what other people think of you, which is really cool.
It's completely deserving. And you've been, like Mark says there in the comments, a legend. Mike, so obviously I've been following pool now since I turned around 21. I first got introduced to the game from my granddad, my stepmom's father, years ago. And I remember walking into his game room at the time, and he had all these photos of pictures of guys I never seen before with autographs and big giant trophies. And I'm 5 years old, and that was like the sprout. And then when I started getting into professional pool, when I turned 20, 21, around there, Billiards Digest was just a thing and the coolest thing. And it was like the only resource for getting news when it comes to pool. And, I couldn't travel across the world, and I couldn't, keep up with everything going on. And, Facebook was non-existent and all these things. And I'm sounding really fucking old saying all these things. But anyway, I've admired you for a long time, and I got a lot of respect for you, buddy. And it's an absolute honor to be here hanging out with you all these days. And so, congratulations on getting nominated.
The nomination's cool enough, and we'll see if enough people think that
it's gonna be awkward if you don't get in. But
it's gonna be really awkward. But that's listen, you try to tell yourself I would be okay with that, because if
I know you would,
like, okay, you're a nice guy, you've done some good things, but I just don't see this level. I would be okay with that. I really would.
Yeah.
But that's why, like, this is the first. I haven't told anybody that I know that I'm even being considered, especially in my family.
I got a big mouth, Mike. You know what I mean? So,
well, no, I mean it's something you just don't talk about.
Well, that's just part of how the humble guy that you are. But anyway, Mike, pool news going on around the world, including
the main part of that ballot is Shane's on the ballot.
Well, that's an automatic. Is it the main thing though, Mike? Because Shane's conclusion that he's going to get in. There's a lot of other guys. I saw Guy Young Kim, Carlo Beato.
This would be the coolest thing for me personally, but sports Hall of Fames are about the players. It's about the players. It's nice that they have things like this, and it's great to recognize people who've done things for the game. But a sports Hall of Fame is about the greatest players, and this is about as great as you get.
Well,
that's why he's automatic to get in. But I'm just excited that we're going to be able to celebrate him like he should be celebrated.
It's pretty poetic if you were to get in on the same year as Shane. I'm just saying it's kind of fitting, all things considered. But you being the Shane cheerleader that you are, the rah guy that I've known you to be for so many years. Pinozo picks him every damn tournament that comes up.
That's really a pretty recent phenomenon. I got to be honest with you. So it really only been the last 2 or 3 years, or 3 or 4 years maybe, that I've really been riding the Shane wagon.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on, Mike. Congratulations, like I mentioned, buddy.
Thank you.
More news in the pool world, Mike. Obviously, the last show that me and you were on, we talked about the Scottish Open. We talked about the WPA press release, and since then they've just come out with a ton of other press releases. The WPA, that is, but which I don't even know where to begin when it comes to those. But along with that was a reply from Matchroom, which we expected to hear.
Yeah.
New. New feet in the water, I guess you'd say. The Pool Regulation Authority, is that right?
Yes, Pool Regulation Authority. Yeah, this is obviously this has been in the works for a little while. This isn't anything that that this is not a knee-jerk Matchroom response to the WPA. This is something that obviously this Pool Regulation Authority was incorporated in December of 23. So, give a couple of months ahead of that at least in the works to get this thing up and running, or to get it, incorporated and get it legitimized. So that had to be happening for a while. So this is something Matchroom's been ready to kind of drop on everybody. And we caught a little bit of a glimpse of it last year or earlier this year when WPA announced that it was lifting the ban on the players, and it was treating all these Matchroom events as sanctioned, right? And Matchroom said, well, thanks, but we haven't asked for sanctioning. It's kind of nice of you to do that, but it's.
By the way, that's the most awkward thing I've ever seen online in a long time, Mike. That response of, what, we appreciate you sanctioning, but we never really asked you to sanction.
Yeah, it's kind of just, well, what they basically said was, listen, this isn't an agreed upon thing. Right. It's nice of you to do this, but this isn't something that we've done jointly. And now we know.
It seemed like it was more of just pacifying for the sake of trying to see whether the relationship could get any kind of traction, because they were still pretty much on the fringe.
There's no doubt. Even after that, there was back and forth between WPA and Matchroom to try to get an agreement in place. And depending on which side you talk to, the other side was the problem, which is not unusual.
Yeah.
So, that being the case, Matchroom always had this other regulation authority in its back pocket. And I think even if they would have worked something out with WPA for sanctioning, I get the impression they probably would have done this anyways, as far as, if it can be dual sanctioned, I suppose, from one authority. I'm not sure how that would have worked out, but they always had this in their back pocket. Once the discussions kind of fell through, they were right, and with the latest WPA release, which basically said, we're going to clamp down on the guidelines again. Then it was ripe. The time was ripe for Matchroom to unveil this, the Pool Regulation Authority, which is, it's just really kind of it is a scary sounding name. I mean, you just kind of, it's like you're waiting for people in uniform to come in.
Briefcases, 3-piece suits, probably cups to go and.
I'm thinking more like shoulder things and epaulets. I'm thinking guys with guns.
Yeah. Well, you never know, but it's look. There's drug testing, keep regulations on because of the gambling aspect that's being introduced, and making sure that everything stays on the up and up. Things like that are at least part of what I've read. Obviously, that thing being formed back at the end of the year shows that it's been in the works, and I'd imagine that during these talks they were well aware that that they were on the table. The WPA, as it pertains to this new, whatever you call it, regulation authority.
Right.
But look, it's really, you need things like this in sports. So that part of it, I don't really care a whole lot about, Mike, to be honest with you. It's really just as it pertains to this relationship with the WPA, because had there been no WPA drama, I would have just been like, okay, great. They're going to go.
They need this. I mean, they talked about it. Emily's talked about this last couple of years with the whole WNT is, having disciplinary authority, having some kind of testing, having, codes of conduct, things like that. Now, someone's got to regulate that and look over that, and it really can't be and shouldn't
third
be
party.
them. Yes, it can't be. It shouldn't be them because we saw, we saw how awkward that got with the whole Darren Appleton incident. Not only did he get punished by the WPA, but he got punished separately by Matchroom.
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird situation. So, and as far as the regulation authority goes, I think that this was an easy fit for them because this is the same group. And I kind of knew that as soon as I saw the 75-page document from the Pool Regulation Authority with 75 pages, I was like, okay, this is boilerplate from something else. This didn't just get, this would have cost $1 zillion for this thing to be drawn up just for pool from scratch. So, they own and run the Professional Darts Corporation. And so sure enough, this is, the same guy and the same
just office. A branch, basically.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, this is a regulation authority for darts, and they just basically took that. I'd be shocked if the darts document isn't 75 pages, but just kind of retweaked it to fit the pool, the World 9-Ball Tour, and so presto, you got something that's ready to go if you need it, and they needed it, and the man who runs the Darts Regulation Authority, from people that I've talked to, has a really great reputation in not only darts, but in snooker. He's also on the WCBS board when it comes to disciplinary action. He was one of the guys who was involved in the Chinese snooker players getting banned for life. So this is a good independent
give
source.
Some context there, Mike, because it was due to gambling, right? And
gambling is part of part of that 75 pages. You can't gamble on pool matches and things like that, and
which is a big deal, by the way, Mike. Which is a big deal.
This was more about guys tanking,
but
not just betting
keeping
on
the integrity aspect is massive as the bookies start picking up the sport and introducing it. Because when you have guys who are running around the world not making a ton of money, and you start seeing these odds, being placed. Or be able to be bet on, it just opens up a window to have some shape.
You got to be careful, especially in pool, where the prize money isn't so big.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, because
if it was zillions of dollars, then I'm not going to risk that on any kind of bet. But if it's if it's 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 8,000, 7,000, whatever, and I can make a $30,000 shot, I'm going to take it. It's going to give me pause. So, so they need to do this, and it's good to have an independent source. And I don't know. I need to find out. We'll have to wait till the UK's open to get more information. But, who's going to run the drug testing? How's the drug testing going to be run? Is it just going to be, and who's paying for that, and who's, all that kind of. So there's a lot of questions like that still need to be answered. But for the most part, having an independent regulatory group is a good thing, and that's their, if that ends up being who sanctions their events, it's kind of, they're sanctioning an event, but to a certain extent they're doing the role that WPA should be doing,
exactly,
that it never did well, right? And so I don't know what a UPA, URA, or PRA, or whatever, Pool Regulation Authority, what the value is of their sanction, but I know what the value is of their oversight.
Yeah, I think like that just depends on what their relationships are like, and what maybe they'll be like once they get this stamp of approval from Matchroom. You know what I mean? And but I agree with you. This is something that WPA, I would expect them to be, part of, had that relationship been been in a positive direction. Obviously it's not.
Well, and here's the other side of it. I really believe that this group, given their history, I mean, the Darts Regulation Authority has been around for 20 plus years, right? This isn't an overnight thing. Matchroom's only owned the PDC since like 2016 or something, but the group, the oversight group's been around forever. So I actually have more comfort and more confidence in this group to be able to do what they're supposed to do than the WPA, because that part of the WPA was kind of secondary to them running around trying to get sponsor dollars and go to tournaments and give away bouquets and medals, right? That's what they do best. And so
I've been for a photo.
Yeah. So I have much more confidence in this group to do things properly from that disciplinary and oversight aspect than the WPA.
I think it just legitimizes, like it gives more legitimacy to the sport, and at least it sets a new standard for that players are going to know this is what's expected. This is the possibility, right? If you got a chance to be drug tested. If they find things that are, that are not so when it comes to the gambling that are just shady business, I'm sure there's going to be repercussions. And I like having that, kind of Uncle Sam looking over your shoulder type vibe from a third party outside of Matchroom. Let them focus on putting on the event, producing the event, things like that, and give it to someone else. I'm good
in
with
the
that.
in the end, this costs Matchroom money because WPA was on record as saying, we'll sanction all your events and do what WPA does and not charge you a nickel for it. Right?
It's kind of funny.
How bad they wanted that deal.
They'd rather pay someone else to do
Correct.
that job
Correct.
versus give it to WPA for free.
Correct.
So you think they got any chance of reconciling, Mike?
Well, you never say never, but this is good. This I would think would be pretty damn close.
It's unfortunate because back in January, February, there were at least like strands of hope to hold on to, and I've talked to players, whether they have federations or not. And some players with strong federations who were like, I hope they don't, figure things out. These are players that I gotten support from their government too, which I was really surprised by. So there's going to be a mixed reaction. At the end of the day, though, hopefully this kind of, I hope this just starts the process of closing this door, because at the end of the day, I'd rather talk about pool than this other stuff.
But I think this is just the start of it. John Francisco just mentioned WPA is going to put the heat on now. Here we go. Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be this is just the start of it. Now the WPA's got to flex whatever muscle it thinks it has and turn this into a war, because they've got a good chance of just flat out losing here. I mean, so and really it's to me it's an Asia thing. That's where the WPA,
it's a big market, Mike,
biggest
a lot of money.
Power, hungry, dictatorial group is the Asian Federation. So they're already putting the squeeze on Vietnam and on Philippines. They're going to try to queer everything that's going on in Asia. And we talked about this the other day. It's like, to what purpose? It's one thing if you said, we need to stop all this because we're doing our own Asian tour. It's going to be 15 tournaments with $1 million each tournament. Then you'll get players say, well, we better start listening to what they're telling us. But if they're just threatening and saying, telling cities, you shouldn't hold a Matchroom tournament, and if you do, we're going to never run a national event in your city, or none of your players are going to be able to play in the SEA Games or any national tournaments.
Oh, well, you can't put anything past them, Mike. You can't put it, because just the things that we've learned about that they've said on the record. We had Aishan on, who point blank said, yeah, listen, I've called cities and said and try to put the squeeze on that event. Those are things that he came on the record. I could only imagine all the things that we never hear about that are going on behind the scenes, as far as them trying to put the brakes on whatever Matchroom's trying to do.
And this is something that the ACBS is going to do on their own. They don't have to call Ishan and the WPA and get their approval to play the heavy. They're just going to do it, and the WPA is going to find out after the fact that this is what's going on, and they're going to have to just sit there and take it, because they can't tell they can't tell their federations what to do. So it's it's going to get ugly before it gets better. But I still think in the long run, it's a losing battle for the WPA, and they're taking the whole wrong approach, and it's kind of a they're taking the sink or swim approach. They're not trying to find a way to just do their own thing and just let the other players do what they want to do. They just can't seem to figure that part out. So they would rather try to flex their muscle and be an authority figure and have players hate them, win or lose. So,
Bryce, some of these press releases that I've seen from the WPA over the last few days, it just shows how out of touch they are, with everything going on. And it's I get a lot of kicks out of it, but it's kind of sad to see, Mike, at the same time.
Well, it's I refer to it in one post is just the insular nature of the WPA. I mean, they operate in this little vacuum.
Yeah, but I don't think so, Mike, because
leaders who sit around the room and they just
may not see what's going on, Mike. They may not publicly go and acknowledge what's going on. But listen, I'll go online on that Matchroom public regulation, whatever the hell it's called, post, right? You'll see a laughing emoji from Stewie, WPA social media guy from Australia. So they see things, Mike. They'll watch.
They see it, but when they get together to make decisions, they don't see outside their own little world. They don't see outside it's a turf protection. It's a turf protection mentality that, listen, this is our livelihood, is making sure that these countries still think that we're important to them, and that the IOC is the place to go, and that's where you get your government funding.
Well, I think it's a good thing to go and reference whenever you're going and having those discussions, Mike. Look at our Facebook page. You know what I mean? Look at the posts that we're putting out there and that type of energy and positivity. But in reality, they're just so far out of touch. And
their last one with, it sound like it's all these new things that they came up with at their latest meeting, and all these things that make a WPA sanctioned tournament worth it, like medals.
Yeah.
and
we'll come to your event on our dime.
Oh, career enhancement was my favorite.
So I'll tell you the funniest thing, Mike. When I went to the trade show, if you were there, I went to the WPA booth. Stewie was never around. He was just going around being a mayor, probably during the whole time. I never saw the guy. But part of what was on their banner was, come advertise with us, showcase your product with the WPA. We'll help push it forward. Something along those lines. I thought, listen, you got to really be on something to be smoking that, Mike, because that's a reach, The only ones that are tying themselves to them are obviously those who are putting on events with them. But even then,
well, you got to wonder, how long is that going to last? I mean,
we had heard that. I had heard anyway. I'm sure you did the same. I had heard the Predator and WPA relationship was on the outs. What, a year ago? At least.
Yeah, well, but Predator owns the World 8 Ball and the World 10 Ball, right? So, so that's value to them. They've got to maintain something there. But I don't think they like the direction that this is going. I can't believe they like the voice that the WPA is putting forward in as far as defensive measures and offensive measures. It's soft mark at best. And so, I can't believe they love where they're at right now with working with WPA, but the World Championships are a big thing for them to promote. I mean, that's part of, that they want to promote tournaments, and these are World Championships that they can hang their hat on, and there's value there. There's no doubt about it. But there is. It's got to be,
But at what cost, Mike?
Yeah.
At what cost when it comes to the PR game? Are you taking a hit by tying your sail to that ship? And listen, my mom told me a long time ago, you make your bed, you lay in it, and so I don't feel bad for them in the least. This is just what you signed up for. And if you didn't know, you should have known. And so, but either way, the way that it's going now, you just can't help but kind of cringe a little bit and just look the other way. So
it's too bad, because there's still a way for them to be a worthwhile association. There really is. And I've said that a million times. I know people think I'm crazy, but there's value there and there's importance there. They just have to figure out what it is and realize that it's not as the worldwide tournament promoter. It's just not. So get out of that area and do what you're supposed to do, which is work with federations around the world to help develop talent and spread the sport, and then let this talent grow up and go play professional baseball. Go play professional pool. Go
So
be
you're saying
professional.
go oversee the amateur game until they develop into the professional game.
Well, no, see, I don't take that. You guys run the amateur. No, they're not amateurs. These guys who play in these national tournaments or whatever, they're trying to get to a level, but they're playing professional tournaments. They're playing and they're professional level players. So it's not APA, CSI. This is, the players that they developed in Europe, are professional players. It's just at some point when they get to that level and they leave and want to go play in the World 9-Ball Tour, you should pat them on the back and tell them, go represent our federation and our country, your country, as best you can. Good luck to you. We'll
more of a selling point.
We'll continue to build this system that we have of running out great new young players with our junior system and with the Euro Tour, which is fine. That's professional. But don't tell someone if you don't play in the Euro Tour, you're banned from our country. That's just stupid. Use the Euro Tour for what it's good for. Use the national federations for what they're good for, and stay the fuck out of everybody else's way, because it's just
coming in the heat today.
They're just a nuisance when it gets to that level.
That is something to sell somebody on, Mike. Because if I go and say, hey, you see that Josh Filler right there, that number one, that U.S. Open champion, that world champion, right? He's a product of the federation 100%. That we're associated with. That's a selling point, Mike. Come support us for that reason, right?
But what you get to realize is that all these plane tickets that these guys have to buy and hotels they have to get to go all around the world and hand out these medals and go to these extraordinary meetings, things like that. They got to get that. Obviously the sanction money is what feeds that. So what they got to do is try to figure out another source of income to run their offices that that doesn't force them to be these globetrotting guys in search of a sanction fee. So and I tell you what, at some point they could probably get a deal with Matchroom, where Matchroom does give them some of that money to help run their office, because they're helping build that system that's going to feed the Matchroom World 9-Ball Tour for years to come, right? But you don't hold a gun to Matchroom's head and say, our players can't play in your tournament. If they, just that kind of stuff, they just need to leave all that aside. There's a lot of ways to still make this work. They just have to get out of the, we dictate to people where and when they can play business. They got to get out of that.
They want to be the authority, Mike. They want the buck to stop with them. It's a complete ego trip within that. And it seems like over the last 3 months now that it's just gotten worse, and whatever relationship that was there, it just seems like it's done burned down, that bridge, Mike. So I'm sure we'll have more things going on. Like I've mentioned time and time again, anybody from the WPA that watches the show, more than willing to come on. I'll always extend that invitation. Same goes for anybody in their camp as well. So that'll be taken up on it. But in the meantime, Mike, there was another announcement today as well. What is this?
Yeah, I can't speak on this because this new deal with
what is it, Pitch or?
Yeah, Pitch International.
Okay.
Which is it's a media rights group, and they sell media rights around the world for and host partners. They host events. They help put special events together. They work with television contracts, things like that. So I don't know. I don't really want to speak on this yet because I need to get more answers. It was kind of one of those releases that's like, this is great for us. And, to me, it's interesting because, media rights, things like that, that's stuff that Matchroom already does on its own. So how is this partnership going to make them stronger? Now, I know it makes them stronger because there was a buy-in, right? They're a minority owner of Matchroom now. So They have some ownership. They put some skin in the game. They put some money into it, which is a Barry Hearn move. It's like, I don't think Matchroom ever wanted, and I've been, talked to people about this. I don't think they've ever wanted someone to just come in and be an investment banker group that's going to buy 40% of Matchroom and then sit around and spend time hashing over your P&L statement every month. But a partnership, a buy-in from a partner that's got something to bring to the table and work with you to help build the company, that makes sense to me. I just don't know what areas Pitch International helps them the most. Is it something that, will it have any impact on pool media rights, broadcast rights?
They've shown they've already
these rights, things like that. I don't know.
They'll leverage other aspects of their business in order to help improve the pool. We saw that just with the World Championships, Mike. So anything that can be done to improve is going to be a positive. And let's be real, right? I mean, pool's on the upswing, but it's still very much on the buy low aspect. So what time?
It is, but I mean, we all have to be realistic. When Matchroom makes a statement like this, they're talking about the Matchroom, the big Matchroom products. So this company's in the there. Boxing. Yeah, the boxing, the snooker, the golf.
Yeah,
the boxing, the snooker, the darts for sure, and then multi-sport. But they didn't look at it and say, we're bullish on pool. I don't, I'd be surprised. But is this going to be, again, it's a matter of trying to find out, okay, how does this really enhance, specifically, how does this enhance Matchroom, and what's its impact going to be on, what you're trying to do in pool? That's what I'd like to know. So I haven't gotten that answer yet, but that's what we'll work on. Positive
news, at least.
Yeah, no, it's not bad. I mean, it's certainly not bad for the Hearns.
Yeah. Any more money coming through is always going to be a positive thing. So
yeah, I mean, the more money they put into Matchroom as a whole, the more, the bigger piece pool can get of it to continue its efforts to grow. So
see a comment in there about the Golden Fleece in July. Mike, you going? Don,
I am not going. I am not going. That is what? It's my my anniversary weekend. Sorry.
Okay. Well, you get a pass for that, Mike. It's the anniversary weekend. I tell you what, that was my favorite, one of my favorite events last year, because just the place was just beautiful. I loved it out there. So
yeah, it was great. I loved it last year. It was fun.
I cannot wait to go out there again, do some fishing, hang out at the lake house, and then go enjoy a great tournament. It was an absolute ball. Twist my arm. When Jason called me, I said, "Oh, are you kidding me? Of course I'm going to be out there." So we'll see you guys out there. Moscone Cup tickets are on sale now. If you signed up for the priority, you've gotten the email already. So make sure and go snatch those things up. Mike, I'm assuming
the priority was if you had signed up to WNT live scoring, correct? Yeah,
that is accurate. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
are you going to Moscone Cup, Mike?
I am going to Moscone Cup. Absolutely.
Are you going to be professional this year? Because the last time I seen you at a Moscone Cup, it was not. We
were hell raising a little bit, but no.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a couple times I'm looking over and I don't even know who the hell this guy is right here. I had no clue the level of a sport fanatic that was in Mike as it pertains to pool. I thought he was just a professional journalist, but it was a fun time.
I was always a big believer in no cheering in
the media section,
in the press box. But now I'm old and I don't care anymore, and I just.
Well, I can tell you what, with everything going on with the announcement of the Reyes Cup and just the new level of excitement and enthusiasm for the Moscone Cup, new venue, all these things, I can't wait to go. I'm more excited than ever, Mike. This is going to be my second time attending. I cannot wait to be out there in Orlando.
I have not gotten my email, FYI. I have definitely signed up for WNT live scoring, and I didn't get an email.
Well, this is going to be awkward if security doesn't let you through the door, Mike. So don't be calling me. Don't be.
You have to send Adam a little WhatsApp message over in UK and find out what the story is.
Look, I'm gonna really want to just bang it out this year from doing podcasts before and after and player interviews and just really want to take it to a whole other level. I'm excited for Moscone Cup, Mike. I really
It's gonna be
am.
great.
So
It's gonna be great.
we hope to see you guys. Make sure and go pick up your tickets right now. They are available through Ticketmaster if you signed up for the priority. Mike, the UK Open is going on. It's in full swing. Two rounds have been played, or at least if you've played already, you've already gone through 2 rounds. Give me some of your initial takeaways from the first couple of days out here, Mike.
A lot of good matches. A really strong field. I don't know. It didn't fill 256. It didn't fill 256, right? It's about.
No.
I think I saw about 17 buys in there or something like that.
Yeah.
So, but still, crazy good field. Ton of Filipinos.
You think it would have been buys like that, Mike, if it would have been just straight open?
What do you mean? Oh, as far as having to qualify? Probably not. But is it? I don't have a problem with 17 buys out of 256 player field.
Yeah.
The work up to it.
Get the
qualifiers. Yeah. No, I like the idea of having to qualify to get in one way or another, and qualify or get invited. And so I'm okay with that. And if they go through 3 or 4 of these and they're at 238 and 245 and whatever, or 228, doesn't matter to me. I mean, it's not like it really hurts the field a ton. They'll get there.
Yeah, I was just curious, Mike. I don't got an issue with it myself. I know I've gotten a lot of messages from, not a lot. I'm reaching there. I've gotten a few messages from people that are a little bit on the salty side as far as not being able to just register for the event and play. So.
Well, that's because that's what they've been used to for 100 years. So, I mean, I understand that part of it. But, I think that, listen, there's a WPA event in your future if that's the way you want to do
it. Yeah, no kidding. Keep your email notifications on for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the level of play has been great, Mike, as far as like the quality of matches that we've seen from the beginning. Usually at an event like this, you'll have the first 3 days where it's dead money just getting weeded through, and even these like mid-level players, they usually don't do very well on that stage because they don't play on that type of equipment very regularly, so even if you're a solid player, so for me, yesterday I tuned in. I got to see Kachi and Delgado. I got to see, Oscar and I think it was who was it? Rhoda play earlier today. I got to see a lot of
Chua and Regulario.
Yeah, Chua play. Feliciano goes down. There's a lot of guys who lost the very first round, Mike. And so or in the second round. So
right.
Which I love to see. I want to see. I don't want there to be any kind of expectations that I'm going to have a few rounds to get my wheels greased here, right? It's a new level of competition in the World 9-Ball Tour, and it's already showing its face here at the UK Open.
Yeah, Americans doing pretty well. The usual suspects, but BJ won his first 2 matches. Lucas won his first 2 matches. Oscar won his first 2 matches. Federer.
I think it was just
Shane
Wolford lost and Jeremy Jones lost.
Yeah.
Which there's no shame in losing to a strong Filipino player like that.
Yeah, no. So, so it's a great field. Should be a lot of fun. Tyler won his first 2 matches. So,
do you think, given the conditions, Mike, and how tough that they've been at this event, do you think that we'll see an American through, let's say, to a final 8?
Hey, pockets are tight for everybody. So, I mean, a final 8. Final 8, you always got to like Federer's chances, right? So, and Shane. So those 2 would be your likely picks for final 8.
Chalk.
I mean, that's if you had to say, okay, now could someone else get through to the final 8? You'd love to see someone out of the blue go on a run.
Well, I mean, it's bound to happen, Mike. It just happens in every event.
I mean, an American player,
an American player.
Yeah, like an Oscar or a Shane Wolford or Tyler, Sam Henderson, Lucas, whoever. You'd like to see one of them make a crazy run where they get to 16 or 8 or something, and you're like, wow, man, good on you. This is a pretty damn good field. So they're gonna have to play stout pool to get there, but it can happen.
I think if you were gonna put any money outside of like the chalk players, Oscar would probably be the best bet, just given his recent form over the last couple of events.
Of course,
which I don't think you would have said that a couple of months ago. So
no, probably not.
It's going to be a lot of scoreboard watching for sure. As Marlonito says in there, a lot of Asian players are through as well through the winner's side.
Yeah.
This is going to add a whole level.
There are a ton of Asian players in this field, a ton. Which probably as much as we've seen in any
type appearance,
as much as we've probably seen in any event in the last couple of years, as far as it's thick with Asian players. So,
which I love, Mike. I want to see these guys play every and anywhere.
What we talked about, a year and a half, 2 years ago, a lot. It was, we were hoping to see more of these events open up, more of the Asian players getting into them, and man, are they out in full force here? Holy! I mean, for an event in the UK, there's some people who put in some travel hours. That's for sure.
We would have never seen it to this depth a couple of years ago, Mike. Ever, adding that Reyes Cup just incentivizes these players to go and compete.
Yeah.
Not to mention and it's showing from some of these players that there's support within that region that people are willing to give you to go out there and compete and represent their brands, which is awesome as well, Mike. So you see like the strong Filipinos, you see like Feliciano getting support from Perry and things like that, which is great. The Marboys, of course, I love seeing things like that. I want to see more Vietnamese players show form, outside of Huang. I'm excited to see if he can go on another run because he's just a great, exciting player to watch. And I personally love his style of play. The guy just plays absolutely fearless pool.
I do see Marlonito talking about Indonesia's a big big market for pool too. And it was really kind of funny because I know, everybody's been kind of pointing to Indonesia as being, a hot spot. And I know Matchroom's looking at Indonesia. And so that's why as soon as I saw that the second round after winning his first match, Carl Boys was playing an Indonesian player in the second round. And I think Emily told him, Carl, you're taking a dive. You are not messing up my new relationship with the Indonesians by beating this guy in the second round.
Send the Tanya Harding in there for him.
That's right. No, but that player is a really good player. Isn't he the Indonesian kid that beat Carl? Isn't he one of the Marboys group? Isn't he the Indonesian player who goes down and works out with the Marboys in Manila? So Alvin and Gito is also part of Marboys. So
that stable is the real deal, Mike. And they got a lot of strong talent that go through there, and I think the prestige of that event is already shown with these players that are showing up, Mike. But I want to see one of these like outside of like the Carlos and the Chuas and these more vogue name players. I want to see these guys who can go out there and make a name for themselves with a solid run. I think it's absolutely possible. I think they got all the talent in the world to do it. And I wouldn't be surprised if the top 8 is just 5-6 Asian players. To be honest with you, they got that type of ability from all across those markets, Mike. So, but especially with
going back to the WPA, that's where the issue is going to come in because the Asian Federation, everybody sees the Asian market, Indonesia, Vietnam, obviously the Philippines, as being these huge growth potential markets. So it's going to be a battle for that, and it's going to get ugly.
Yeah, I mean, listen, everyone wants to have territory, Mike. And so you do whatever you can, and obviously there's no shame in the way they go about handling their business. So to each their own, I guess. And
well, they obviously understand it's a capitalistic society, you know. So this.
Well, there's a lot of money over there, Mike.
That's what I'm saying. But on one hand, they're going to fight because that's what they're trying to get at. On the other hand, they're trying to make Matchroom look bad because they're just, you know, it's a for-profit, you know, entity, and it's not, you know, part of these.
What do you mean? What do you mean, Mike?
So, well, Matchroom they look at Matchroom as this money-hungry, you know, profiteering, you know, pool league, you know, league of professional pool players, and they're protecting the sanctity of, you know.
Oh, give me a fucking break with that, because I'd imagine there's a lot of under the table deals that go in line, a lot of their pockets. I think if you pull back those curtains, Mike.
That's the two sides of the mouth that they talk out of. It depends on which one suits their.
At least one is more honest as far as their approach, right? Because they make no bones about it. They are a business,
right?
Yeah.
So, you know, but anyways, back to the players and UK Open and the Asian players. Yeah, they're this could be a very Asian heavy, you know, final 8, final 16.
I want to go through just a few of these matches that may or may not catch your eye, Mike. If I can get my damn computer working right here. I sound old when I say that, but
got to get on that internet thing, do you?
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Ruiz, Joao's a great player from Portugal, Mike. The guy's been playing absolutely solid since the U.S. Open. Niels and Jeff. These are all winner side matches, by the way. You guys can check out WNT live scores to go follow the bracket, live scoring, and also check out.
These are all matches for tomorrow, right?
These are all matches for tomorrow, which my damn computer just isn't working so right. So I might have to turn this one off though, Mike. Let me just go back here.
Yeah, winner side qualification tomorrow. You've got all the players now. You know, a lot of the usual suspects. Niels beat Tyler. Who did Niels beat?
Tyler's on one loss side?
No. You know, you're right. I thought Niels beat somebody that I was familiar with, but you know, you got Raga, Beato, Aranis,
Sky, Mario, Huang still in there. That Daniel Maciel, BJ Ustry, that's a pretty good matchup as well, Mike. Maciel, I'm really high on that dude, and BJ showing some consistency as of late. Obviously, he's out there to make Moscone moves, so a win like that can certainly be something you can hang your hat on as well.
Yeah.
Federer through.
And Lucas.
What, Lucas is through?
Well, Lucas plays Victor tomorrow. Yeah.
It's a pretty juicy matchup, Mike.
It is. That's a statement match for him.
Well, guys who have things to prove. You know, we know what we expect of Victor,
right.
But he's been up and down on the Matchroom stage. You know, he's in a position to make a Moscone Cup run this year, where he stands currently with points. Where you have a Lucas who a lot of promise with that young man. A lot of, not sure where he really fits in the totem pole because he doesn't travel a whole lot outside of the Northeast. But now that you're here, well, now you got to make the best of it, and wins like that are going to be great.
I was happy as hell to see him in here mixing it up. So, you want to see, him and Sam Henderson and Shane Wolford kind of look at each other like, okay, which one of us three is going to be that next guy to jump into the group.
Okay, so why don't you answer your own question there, Panozzo?
Well, right now, based on history, you're going to go with Shane Wolford. I mean, he played good. He's got a little more seasoning under him than Lucas, and certainly than Sam Henderson. So, he'd be your favorite. But they're all kind of in that, okay, this is next generation guys, right? Who's going to be the leader of this next generation group? So it's great to see them all in here mixing it up. It's great to see them all in, third round winner side, really strong, really good.
Well, I agree with you, but
don't say it so begrudgingly.
Well, it kills me, Mike, to go and agree with you. I'll be honest with you. No, I'm kidding. It's one of those things, Mike, where listen, Wolford played really well at the Moscone Cup last year, but I've seen him in back-to-back years disappear midway through the year. I don't think that performance last year can afford you the opportunity to go and disappear
Shane
this
Wolford?
year. Shane Wolford. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I
So,
don't think there's any way he looks at himself as being a lock for this year as the fifth guy. So, yeah, he's going to have his work cut out for him.
and I like that kid Sam. That kid Sam.
Oh,
When I watch,
everybody does. But I mean, he's really young. You don't want to put that kind of heat on him just yet. But I want to see him. Yeah,
why not? Listen, you're out there. Go throw him into the wolves. Why not?
he's
I'm
in
not
there with,
saying
he's in there with the Wolves right
yeah,
now.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't listen. And you're not there for participation trophies if you're that young man. You're out there to compete, and he's showing that he can do pretty well. Now it's still far too early in the tournament, but you take steps throughout your career and throughout a tournament. And I like the way that he took his first one. I'm going to be watching the same way I will with Lucas. Because Lucas kind of I just don't know where his head can be at sometimes. Seems to have more of an interest in gambling than he does in
Yeah,
playing
he does.
tournaments. That's fine.
That's the knock, not the knock on him, but that's the MO that he seems to be giving off, is that he likes this idea and he'll play in some of these events, but he's not a dedicated points chaser, at least at this point. So not like, and Shane Wolford kind of had a little bit of that in the past a year or two ago. So they all kind of grow into it. I think Sam Henderson, he's a different story. I think this is where this is his focus for his future right now. So I like that, and he shows a ton of promise. He goes up against Al Youssef.
That's strong. As a strong 9-ball player in Abdullah, Mike. That guy plays really well. He's got a strong break. He's very well seasoned. He's gone deep in multiple events, Mike. Yeah. He's knocked on a final 8 a few times. And so I hope
it's a good test for him. So we'll see how he handles that.
I'm going to be watching the next few days, Mike, for sure, as I'm sure you will as well. And hopefully all you guys who are tuning in right now will be checking it out. These matches are only going to get thicker and deeper and better. Let me understand this, Mike. Winner side, if you win tomorrow, then you're through to single elimination then. Is that right?
Yeah. This is winner's qualification is tomorrow. So yeah, if you win tomorrow, you're into the qualification, which is loser's qualification. Yeah. So what does that break it down to? It goes down to 32.
Is it, or 64?
Yeah, I should know that, but I don't.
Yeah. Good job, Mike. Good job, buddy. Let me see. Maybe one of you guys in the chat. Oh, here. Let me go to stage 2 real quick on the. Let me see here.
Is there a stage 2 on there already?
Yeah, it's 64, Mike. Final 64.
64. Yeah. I hate that.
Final 64. So lots of other players that you're going to be watching for, including a Moritz type character, a Victor, like you mentioned, right? I want to see Alexa play, because last time I saw him at the U.S. Open, kid was just about as strong as anybody on earth. And of course the
Asians has played great this year so far in a couple of big events.
He has played really good this year. I mean, really, really good. I love the way that kid plays, Mike. He's it seems like it's more, he makes the right decision, and he's got a monster break to back up his game. And last time we saw him, he was in he won the Derby, right?
No, he finished second Derby and second in
that's right.
Wherever the hell it was, where Jason
won. Expo?
Yes.
Yeah. So strong performances by him every time that we see him. And listen, it's not just with hopes, right? Because now you're in a really good spot to start off the year. So how can you capitalize on that in this middle part of the year? Which, listen, if anything from last year showed any of these guys something, it's May through August matters more than anything, because we weren't even talking about David in our top 10, and all of a sudden he wins one tournament, has a deep run in another, and boom, he's in. So
yeah,
this is the time of the year to where you can go and make moves, and everybody on earth is now gunning for it. It's not just the Europeans, and it's not just the Americans, right? So it's going to be even more feast or famine, but it makes watching these events and the way that these next couple of days are going to blossom into that much more exciting, at least for me, Mike.
Yeah, no, it's going to be great stuff. It's going to be, it's just going to be tons of scoreboard watching all year. And like you said, the whole Reyes Cup just adds a whole different element for the Asian players who are there. Yeah, it's gonna be great events to follow for sure.
Go get your Moscone Cup tickets if you guys haven't already. We look forward to seeing all of you guys out there. Also, your U.S. Open tickets, Mike. Those I can't wait. I'm going to go to that event as well. Hopefully, I get to see you out there, Mike. The U.S. Open.
U.S. Open, I will not be at.
Why not?
US,
What is wrong with you? Are you just? Are you?
I have to go to. I have a. I've got another magazine that I run too. That I've got to go to Texas that week for a special series.
What part of Texas?
Arlington.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I got
DFW. Yeah, the Dallas Fort Worth area.
I would have gone to go meet you, Mike, but I'll be in Atlantic City.
There you go.
I mean, I don't know. I might. It's Atlantic City. You know what I mean? Anyway, hopefully you guys have enjoyed the show. I'll try to change the title here whenever we're done. Make sure to hit the like, hit the share button. Big shout out to all of our sponsors who help support the show. We could not do it without them. So much appreciation to everyone. I'm going to try to go live, Mike. I don't know if you're free this week, but I'm going to try to go live and just have more. I wanted it to be, well, hopefully there's no more WPA posts, the next few days, because I really just want to jump on into this tournament and have a good time. So, because I'm just excited to follow along and see how it's going to progress, who's going to fall, who's going to continue to push forward. And I'm sure we're going to get a lot of stories out of it. So make sure and keep your notifications on. We'll be live probably tomorrow. And thanks, everybody.